What's up, people? It's King Major here. Look, we are discussing the UAP phenomenon on today's episode of the King Major Show. So like I said, we are discussing the UAP phenomenon on this episode of the King Major Show. Be sure to subscribe or like wherever you are at, and I guess we can begin with, I'm convinced that there's an extraterrestrial phenomenon interacting with us on this earth. There's no question that the UAP phenomenon is real. It's been documented from worldwide, and in fact the United States is late in the game of being transparent about it. But they are not quick to say that it's the UAPs or non-human intelligence, NHI. I'm going to show a couple of articles that are going to indicate, at least to me, that the credible sources usually determined by most people that read news. The Washington Post. Iranian news agency says the U.S. is secretly run by Nazi space aliens. Really? Iran's semi-official news outlets have something of a reputation for taking conspiracy theory to the next level. They've written on Israel's secret plans to annex Iraq, the conspiracy by Western media to fabricate quotes by Iranian President Hassan Rouhani condemning the Holocaust, and the secret Jewishness of the British royal family. You may notice a certain theme here. On Sunday, the hardline semi-official FARS News dropped one of its biggest bombshells yet. The United States government has been secretly run by a shadow government of space aliens since 1945. Yes, space aliens. The alien government is based out of Nevada and has previously run Nazi Germany. And it adds for timelines that the controversial NSA programs are actually a tool for the aliens to hide their presence on Earth and their secret agenda for global domination. This is all asserted as incontrovertible fact with no caveats. There are so many wonderful details here. As proof that aliens were secretly behind the Nazis, the report explains that Germany built hundreds of submarines towards the end of the war, far more than would have been possible with mere human technology. It does not explain why aliens with access to interstellar travel built subs that were so grossly incapable against the British Navy, or why all-powerful extraterrestrials were unable to help the Nazis resist an invasion by Allied forces that were mere cavemen relative to their own technology. So far, they're pretty impressive and unimpressive aliens. In any case, after losing the war, the aliens apparently installed themselves as the secret force behind the United States government. President Obama is said to be a tool of the aliens, though anti-alien factions within the United States government are fighting to topple him. Their presence aim is to install a global surveillance system that will somehow allow them to finally impose a one-world government and enslave humanity. The best part to all this to me is the sourcing. FARS takes us through a veritable hollow mirrors of sourcing confirming their scoop. The progenitor of it all, of course, is ostensibly NSA leaker Edward Snowden, who had waited until now to reveal the real reason for all those NSA programs as aliens. As best as I can tell, FARS claims that Snowden gave this information to Russia's Federal Security Service, FSB. They also say it was independently confirmed by former Canadian Defense Minister Paul Hellyer. Hellyer, who is 90, does indeed argue that aliens have visited Earth for many times, though I haven't seen him comment on this particular story. The FSB, they say, put all this information down in a secret report, which was inexplicably obtained by the ultra-fringe conspiracy theory website whatdoesitmean.com. Yes, this story is highly entertaining, as are many of the bizarre conspiracy theories proposed by official or semi-official news agencies in the authoritarian states. But there is also a more serious undercurrent here. A worldwide view that sees the U.S. as an evil hegemonic force is so irrationally driven towards global domination that it must run by space aliens is not a worldview that is predisposed towards negotiation or accommodation. It's one that justified or perhaps even necessitates total resistance and a refusal to compromise. To be clear, this does not appear to be the present view of the Iranian president. The ongoing and highly public friction between Rouhani's moderate-minded camp and FARS is proof enough of that. But the fact that there are people anywhere within the Iranian system sympathetic enough to this viewpoint to let through an article like this is a reminder of how some hardliners see the world. That's pretty scathing towards them. But, that's still like an official news source. And I can go into detail about the subterraneans, the Thule Society. The Thule Society being one of the powers behind the Adolf Hitler administration, and their obsession with a book called Vril, the Coming Race. The Coming Race was a novel that the Thule Society took as fact that the that we have ancestors that survived a great cataclysm on the surface and retreated underground, and that would eventually come up and take over the world, and teach and guide. The thing about it is, I consider the Lebensborn experiments and the eugenics program in Nazi Germany, which they claimed to be trying to represent their earlier ancestors and trying to bring them about. And what's interesting is they wanted to create over 6 foot tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Nordics. So, it's definitely interesting.